That's perfect. No problem. Okay, why don't I share?
I'll warn you a few minutes before when you're approaching the end of your presentation, your time. Thank you.
Great. Okay, let me just check that. Give me 1 second. That's working. You can see my screen, yeah? All good. Yes. Overall, can you see my screen? Yep, that looks good, yeah.
Yes, I see it.
Everybody, and hello from Tokyo. As I say, it's about 11:15 p.m. here, so I'll try and keep the energy level up. Anyway, thank you, Marina and Alvaro, for inviting me to speak. It's not just me. We're Klein Dytham Architecture. We're based in Tokyo, and the three main partners are Astrid Klein, who's actually on a flight back from Italy as we speak. She's just taken off from Italy. Yukinari Hisayama, who's been with us over 20 years, and myself, Mark Dytham. Astrid and I met at the Royal College of Art in London, and we came to Tokyo over 20 years ago. And it was kind of interesting time. We worked for Toyo Ito for 3 or 4 years before setting up our own practice. And now we're around 20 staff, 25 staff, just depends on the day and the projects. And yeah, I'm going to run through 6 projects, and I'm going to talk a little bit about our show and tell format, PechaKucha, or PechaKucha, as we say in Japanese. So anyway, off we go. So I picked some recent projects the last 3 or 4 years, and it really just shows the breadth of our work. We really don't have a style. Each project is inspired by its location and by the brief and you know what materials are available, things like that. So each project is really bespoke in a way. So this is Ginza Place. It's in the heart of Tokyo. It's in the epicenter of shopping on the Ginza. And what's interesting is it's opposite the Wako building on the right-hand side. I think you can see my pointer. So this building was the first building built after the great earthquake of 1923, opened in 1924. And it's where Seiko watches started. And we were very lucky to win this competition for Sapporo beer. In fact, Sapporo beer had a bar on this site for over 100 years. And Nissan have had a showroom here for over 40 years. And so it's a very prestigious site and a very prestigious corner. And as I say, we were lucky to win this project. Being European, we always sort of look for those hints from what's around it in terms of history. And the Wako building was very interesting. We tried to keep the entablature and the massing that related to the building. And then we separated the building. We pulled it apart, small, medium, large. And this 7th floor restaurant looks across to the clock. And the buildings kind of talk to one another. And that was really important for us. In case this building goes, there is a little bit of history recorded in our project. Oh, let me just do that. So we were interested in the scale of the facade and how it was smaller and more easily read when you're close to it. And the building, you'll see later, the panels increase as they go up the building. So further away, you see the bigger panels. We also reduced the joint here of the panels down to only 8 mil. I'll talk about that in a moment. But this is a 45-degree cut. It's just like a square corner with a 45-degree cut. And we were trying to make the building wrap around the corner. And yeah, I'll talk about the joint here. The joints in Japan, we have earthquake here, and the building sways in an earthquake, and the panels have to have a gap to stop them touching. And it was important for us to show sort of the craftsmanship of Ginza and the elegance that these joints were really, really tight. And we managed to develop this sliding system with Taisei Construction, who are the construction company for the project, to allow these panels to sway side to side without touching one another. And now it's a patented system. So you can see here how this 45-degree cut across the corner, it was kind of blunt, and we wanted to make the building flow around the corner. So we've taken these lines sort of extend round, and allow the building to flow in a much more easily way. They really were telling us we don't want a curved corner, so we had to find a way around that. You can see here how the panels increase in size as they get to the top. So, so those long distance shots, you see the large panels at the top. We told Sapporo that they were like beer, the bubbles in a beer glass. They were very small at the bottom of the glass, and as they rose up, they got bigger and bigger. Whether they believed us or not, I don't know. But it was also interesting because we're working with Nissan. These panels are aluminium panels, and they've actually got a glass coating which was developed by Nissan, the car company, so they stay clean. But it was really interesting doing this building on this corner, and each time we drive past in a taxi, we really think, did we do that? But it's become a new icon, a new landmark. And we thought it was important for these, the 7th floor balcony, the 3rd floor balcony, the window in the Nissan building, or the Nissan space, the way it connected with the city, how it connected with the crossroads, and trying to break these buildings down so you can actually see into the building and see out of the building. And that's very unusual in a commercial building. And it was very important for us to break down the scale. In the Nissan, in the Nissan interior on the first 2 floors, this whole glass here has embedded LEDs in the glass, which magically light up, and they can take the facade pattern that we've designed, or they can become a clock and tell the time. So very striking building right in the heart of town. I wanted to talk about one of our sort of most famous projects, which is Daikanyama Tea Site. This is in an upscale part of Tokyo where all the embassies are. And this is a little bit older, in fact. This is the only old project I'm showing, but it's kind of important because it's 10 years old this year. And it's a bookstore. It was a bookstore. We again another competition which we won. And it's run by a company called Tsutaya. They're the largest media company in Japan. They're kind of like the Virgin Records in the UK. And in fact, the CEO, Masuda-san, is very much like Richard Branson. He's a really out there, go-get-it man. And the week the iPad came out, Masuda-san announced this competition to build a bookstore. It's 8,000 square meters. And you would think books were dead. But he said books are going to survive, and he wanted to build the biggest bookstore in Tokyo. There's a lot of different things here, but this company is called Tsutaya, begins with a T, and he wanted a way to express that logo and the company without being too good in this really elegant part of town. So there was this subliminal type of advertising that we pushed forward within this project. And the 3 main buildings that face the road are actually just simply shaped like T's. We actually sketched this in the competition briefing. In fact, there were 77 invited architects. Each team could take 2 people to the briefing. So 150 architects in one room. Thank goodness there wasn't an earthquake then. We had Kengo Kuma and Metelio Bow Wow, and everybody was there. But we all survived. But we sketched this little sketch during the briefing of these simple T's. And these T's are just not a graphic. This actually is the spine of the building that runs through, and it's where all the elevators and staircases are. But it formed this very iconic shape. So you get the large T of the Tsutaya logo. And then we've got this brise soleil, this glass reinforced concrete that wraps around the building with the smaller T patterns. But as I say, this is a bookstore. And it's kind of an interesting bookstore. It only does lifestyle books, it only has 12 sections, which could be food and cooking, travel, stationery, cars, fashion. And running through the 3 buildings is this space that runs all the way through called Magazine Street. And when you find the magazines on cars, that's where the car books are. And when you find the magazines on food, that's where the food books are. And it became this really important way to navigate through this bookstore without any signs. And it's something that we followed up. We've built 6 of these now, and they've got bigger and bigger, and books are definitely back. The thing with the magazine street is that magazines change every month. So every time you go back to the store, this route that runs through the building is different. And in the bigger stores we've done, for example, when you find the cooking magazines, you'll find the cooking books, and then they've gone to products, so cooking utensils, and in the larger ones, cooking services, which is a cooking school. So it's been really interesting how we've spun the bookstore into a much more experiential space. And it's something that's happened naturally over the last 10 years. Let's say we've done 5 or 6 of these, we're working on another one right now. And with experience being a key factor to bring people to the store. People come to this store for the day. In fact, people fly around the world to come here. It's one of the top 10 things to visit in Tokyo. So it's a really amazing space. And whoops, wrong button there. And we've done lots of things. So again, we don't put people putting things against the windows. So we've built this bench that runs around. Onto that bench, we can clip on lights or bookcases or tables. And it's a totally seamless space too. I should have mentioned that before. You flow from one space to the other. There are no barriers within the building. And you can hang out, as I say, all day here. And in the center building, in the upper area, we have this thing called Anjin Lounge. And so it's an archive of older magazines and books. And you can walk around here and find really amazing things architectural magazines, which date back to the 1920s, Japanese and European and Western. And also here within the space, anything within a glass box is for sale. It could be, there was a really fantastic Frank Lloyd Wright signed book, signed by Frank Lloyd Wright for several $1,000s. So their work with different art galleries and things. And so it's just not a bookstore. You actually make no profit from the books. You actually make profit from everything else here. And it's been a really interesting project. As I say, as we're coming through COVID too, about what bookstores mean and what these experiential spaces mean. And I think it's a new type of retail. In fact, we call this social retail, because in the different areas, if you go to the car area and you chat to the car people, you give them their business card, the meishi. They'll ask what car you drive. And then in the car park on a Sunday, they'll have a car and coffee morning. And if you're driving a Jag and there's a Jag event, you get invited. And there you get, so that they're building these communities within the bookstore. And I think one of the things we've learned from this is the content of buildings is as important as the architecture. I think a building's only 50% complete without the community and how the building gets used. It's something that's really, really important for us. And we spend a lot of time with the client in terms of briefing and helping them develop a brief. And I think the older we get and the more experience we get, I should say the older, the more experience we get, the more we can help the clients. Sometimes we end up knowing really more than the client in many cases. And it's been really interesting as our practice has developed, how we can help inform the client. And here we've done all the interior and selected all the furniture. This lovely square sofa is by Klauston Koivisto Rune from Stockholm. Some really lovely pieces within there too. So that project's led on to a lot of other work around the world in China, and this project I'm going to show you is in Bangkok, which is sort of book related. And this project is in Bangkok. It's a part of a project called Central Embassy. It's on the 6th floor of a retail project. From the 7th floor up is the Park Hyatt, a 35-story hotel. And below, we've got lots of high-end retail, Prada, Hermes, Gucci, things like this. And this is this floor called Open House. And again, it's a seamless experiential space. And it really revolves around a bookstore. The bookstore is the main attraction. But also here, we've got restaurants and we've got art galleries, co-working and kids spaces. So within this space, when we went to look at it to start with in Bangkok, there are loads of columns everywhere. And so there are 14 restaurants here, and each of the restaurants gets a totem tower or a tower, which we wrap around. You can see inside there, there's a column. So we've hidden all the columns within these towers. And these towers signify each of the different restaurants. So it's like an advanced food court, which you can go and pick and choose your meal. But again, at the heart of it is this bookstore that runs, you'll see that in a moment. In the center, this white tower is an art gallery, and it has a little lookout on the top, sits within the main atrium space. So these towers were really important to give each of the restaurants a different identity. So we have a different pattern for each of the towers. We've reflected the ceiling here, so it actually gives it a lot more height. And this building sits between the old historic British embassy on one side, which is very, very green, and a very luscious park on the other. And we wanted to carry that tree canopy across. And so we designed this wallpaper for the ceilings with this leaf pattern. They said you can't put wallpaper up in Bangkok because it's too humid, it'll fall down. So we've had 10,000 leaves hand painted, which is really a work of art. In fact, 4 art students spent 6 weeks on their backs painting this fantastic ceiling. They projection mapped it during the evening with pencils, and then they went around with a thick marker during the day. But it is really a work of art. But you can see how seamless this space is from the bookstore across to the lounge on the left-hand side. But the bookstore runs through like a thread. So it starts here as the book tower, and then this thread runs all the way through the space and draws people to the different areas in the bookstore, and works completely in combination with the 14 restaurants and different things. So again, you know, a seamless space, a space about experiences, a place where you can hang out, a place where you can read books. And we found that by giving people places to sit and rest and read and contemplate, they actually buy more. Everybody thought that if you don't put any chairs, people will buy things because that's the only thing they've got to do. But that's not the fact. They've spent 2 hours on their feet and they want to go home. So by giving people lots of places to sit, it allows them to relax more, and books and products get sold more often. So, and what's interesting with the bookstore, the T-SITE bookstore and the open house bookstore, T-SITE, the one I showed previously, was open at 7 in the morning till 2 at night. So it's open twice as long as any other store. So it could potentially sell twice as many books. And I think these kind of spaces are kind of important. And this one too in Bangkok is really an oasis. Bangkok's very, very hot and humid. This is a place where you can get out of the heat and hang out and breathe and relax. And I think we need more of these around the world. We're working on 2 more big projects like this in China, which is really exciting. So there you can see the art tower in the center, and you can see here how the staircase runs up and runs around. You can see here how they painted across the air vents. We couldn't have done that if we'd had a wallpaper. So it's quite interesting. And the art tower's got different displays around it. So you know, it was a really lovely project to work on. A really fantastic client. It has these lounge areas along the window that overlook the park, and then it has a co-working space within the building too. So you can go in here and hang out for a bit and do your work, and then grab something for lunch. And again, so this is something where you go for 3 or 4 hours to the space and hang out. So changing scale a little bit and going out into the countryside, so moving from the center of the city out. This project is called Poco Buckle, and it's a clubhouse. It joins together 2 existing hotels, and this is a clubhouse for kids. This resort is an agri-resort, an agricultural resort where you go and learn about farming and things like that. And it's about 2 hours from Tokyo in Tochigi Prefecture. near an active volcano, which is in the background there. Hopefully, it's not like the one in the Canary Islands at the moment, but it's very stable. It's very lush green here, and it's a really fantastic place for this hotel. Poco Buckle in Japanese means popping up or bubbling up. So it's like a bamboo shoot as it comes forward. And this building kind of reflects that in its shape. It's meant to be a bit of a fairy tale type building, something that you approach within the clearing of a forest. And as I say, we've connected two existing hotels, and this footbridge here, which goes over a small valley, is the connecting element between the hotels. And we felt that on this route, there should be something interesting, especially for kids, somewhere where the kids can hang out and leave the parents to do their own thing for a few hours. So this, yeah, there we go. So it's basically these three cones, and as you can see, this sweeping route which joins the hotel. Let me just close that. I can't quite see what I'm doing here in Zoom. Let me put that over there. You can't see me doing that. So you can see the hotel down here. There's another hotel to the left. So this connects the two. And within these three cones, the central cone is like a restaurant. Well, this is where the kids go out into the farm and they pick their vegetables and things. They come back and they actually make pizzas and put the vegetables and the tomatoes on top. And then the chef cooks the pizzas here and they have their own meal, things like that. There's an area for the parents to hang out around a fire. This is our furniture called Doro Doro. And they can hang out there too. And as you can see in the back, there's a net for the kids. So again, it's architecture, but it's the content too. The interior is really, really important, and how the building works and what the building does is really important to us. So there are Doro Doro furniture, which runs around the edge, and a lovely fireplace to hang out. And then this great kids net, which you can climb up and almost get to the skylight. You know, it's a really lovely space. So again, it's been super successful. It's in the final 10 for WAF, for Hospitality Building of the Year. It's also in the final 5 in design. So please vote for us in the design awards. It's great to be in the final 5 for this, also for Hospitality project. And you can see at night, this is a bridge that we've designed, which connects the two buildings with our fairy tale building, Poco Buckle, midway. But it's a really beautiful part of the world. And if you get a chance to come to Japan in the next few months, hopefully when we're allowed to travel a little bit more, please try and make a visit up to see this. It's a lovely project. We've used lots of local timber too, and we're working with a lovely engineering firm called Tectonica. And that they developed the engineering for the beams. So this is a single tree trunk here, and then these are the webbings which form the web of the beam, and they're just offcuts of timber which are bolted through. So it's a very simple way to make a beam, and then it's just lined with plywood and shingles on the outside. So again, at night, this thing is, you know, this building is something that you can go to the evening. There's you can buy a drink here and hang out. So the evening views are as important really as the daytime views. So quite romantic, yeah. So it's in Nasu, Tochigi Prefecture. Something completely different, but also hotel related, a different client this time. This hotel is called Toggle Hotel. Toggle means it's like a toggle switch, left and right. Yeah, you've seen those. And the concept here is the hotel is on or off, or on and off at the same time. So it could be work and pleasure, pleasure and work. And it's an interesting hotel. It's right in the heart of Tokyo. It sits by the main line that runs across the middle of Tokyo called the Chuo-sen, which is yellow, and a main expressway route, a main artery. And actually in the back, there is a part of the old imperial moat. So many people go past this site each day. We wanted the building to be a billboard, an advertisement for itself, and something completely different to the gray surroundings of Tokyo. And so we came up with this notion of a pixelated facade, which picked up the gray of the city and the yellow of the trains, and really stood out as you drive past. You think, what on earth is that? And I think there's nothing else like this in Tokyo. So it was a really, it's a really fantastic project. What was quite funny, we had to get all these colors signed off by the planners in Tokyo a couple of years ago, but this year the Pantone colors, and it's the first year Pantone have had two colors, are exactly these two colors of yellow and gray, which is kind of hilarious. I don't think we influenced it, but it just happened that way. But you can see that it's quite a challenging site. It's almost like the Flatiron in New York, and it sits right next to that expressway, which you'll see in a minute. It's kind of works to our advantage as well. So just trying to play, how do we make these color patterns? When you arrive, you go up to the 9th floor, you check in the cafe. Again, we're trying to make color here very, very important. This hotel sits in price range between a sort of a business hotel and a 3- or 4-star hotel. And it was really aimed at younger people and sort of a funky hotel. It was actually designed for the Olympics. Then it was delayed because of COVID, and it actually opened on the on 1st of April. And if you just go to Instagram and do #ToggleHotel, you'll see the type of antics that people get onto or get up to in here. It's been quite funny because color is the key factor here. So each of the 8 floors is a different color. Actually, they're bicolors or duo colors. So this is blue and gray. You can see where we're going with all the other colors. And then each of the rooms takes a hint from this. So they're a green room. The next one will be the green. Let me hit that. The green room. It's got a pink bathroom. And these are developed as loft. About half of the rooms are lofts. So 3 or 4 people can stay in one of these rooms. So it's kind of a budget hotel, but we're trying to elevate it beyond that. As I say, #ToggleHotel on Instagram. What's been interesting is all the anime and cosplay fans in Tokyo go here because their costumes are certain colors and they want to take Instagram shots. And this has become a place you go for your birthday and hang out and then stay over. And it's been super, super successful, all because of the color. And, no color, no life is what we say. And color, as you'll see in our work, is really, really important. And color's free. So you should use it as much as you can. And then where a normal architect would have put the escape stair, we've put the main rooms that have this fantastic view across to the expressway and to the train line. And already these are the most sought after rooms in the hotel, and they're being used for adverts and being used for movies. So the next Lost in Tokyo may be shot here, I think. It's a really, really, really unusual rooms. You only stay here for 1 or 2 nights. So it's a bit like the Ice Hotel. I stay at the Ice Hotel up in Kiruna in Sweden. You actually stay in the real hotel and then you just pop into the Ice Hotel or the ice bit for a short stay, 3 or 4 hours at night. It's not the main hotel. And this really is not a room that you'd stay for a week, but it's really fantastic for a couple of days and a really Tokyo hotel experience. So yeah, Toggle Hotel. You can see the different colors here as you run up through the hotel. Let me just look at my watch and see how we're doing. I guess I've got a few more minutes, so I'll just keep going. This is an interesting project we've just finished in Osaka. It's for Cartier, the jewelry brand, and this is a temporary facade. It's for 5 years, and we thought this was a real chance to do something different for Cartier. And we've only designed the facade here. And what we've done is we've made it from timber, from wood, from hinoki wood, and so it's Japanese cypress. And it's used traditionally in Japanese baths, and it's quite resistant to water, although this has got several coats of lacquer on it. And the whole facade is made up of, you'll see a little bit later, 2,500 smaller boxes. And the idea was that this was like a piece of Cartier jewelry but also we were trying to find an environmentally conscious material and something that we could use traditional Japanese craftsmanship to build. And so this is how this facade got developed. There are 12 different shapes which allow us to turn the corner and do different things. An absolute geometrical nightmare that our staff did a fantastic job in controlling and getting it down to the most minimal type number of elements. So here we are in Kyoto with these master craftsmen who are making these amazing wooden boxes. They're a little bit like the sake box that you drink from, again, that's made from hinoki, from this Japanese cypress, has a really fantastic smell. So here we are working with them. Again, it's so fantastic working in Japan to get this type of craftsmanship and this love and people really wanting to do this as opposed to, fighting us all the way through the project. So there was a definite will to build this facade. So what we do is we've got this 3D printed aluminium. Well, it's cast. It's actually the casting is 3D printed, and then it's cast in aluminium. And this clips onto the facade of the building, and then the elements are bolted onto that grid, or hexagonal grid, or honeycomb grid. And here I just wanted to show these to show how things get made in Japan. It's a really wonderful place to work, and beautifully clean and precise. And here you can see them in the factory. This is with Takanaka, and they're really doing a fantastic job. They're actually putting the lighting in the back. Lighting was really important. This is in Osaka. It has to look good at night, and here's the lighting, all the lighting being put in, which is really fantastic. And there you can see the lights. A lovely project again. Please come to Japan and have a look. Am I good for two or three more minutes, Alvaro, or do you want me to stop?
Thank you, Mark. Actually, we would like to have a couple of minutes of discussion. So if you want to wrap it up and allow some of the...
I was just going to do my little bit about PechaKucha, which is our show and tell format. I think many of you have known that from around the world. We started it. It's now in, we started in our art space in Super Deluxe. It's about hidden heroes showing and sharing their work. And it's spread amazingly all around the world. And it's still incredibly active to today. From a one-off event in Tokyo, it's now in 2,061 cities around the world. And that's how many cities it looks like when you type them all out. So it's a lot. And it's this simple 20 images shown for 20 seconds each. I think all architects, including me, should use the format to stop us talking too much. And it's a very lovely format, which has a very, it has a restricted number of images and seconds. So it's like Twitter. But the key thing is it's the format is concise, but it's also built a community. And this is the most amazing thing, is it's linked us all together around the world, and the format promotes a community, the community promotes the format. So please check it out over on PechaKucha.com. We've got some amazing things coming up. I'm going to just hit the last slide. I'm going to skip some here for you. Maybe I'm not. My laptop's playing up. I'm just going to play the last slide just to show where we are. What's happening? Maybe that's me telling me to get off, I think. I can't find my pointer now. Okay, we'll stop. Oh, my pointer's disappeared. That's no good. Hold on. Why don't you stop me sharing and we'll stop there.
Well, thank you, Mark. Does anybody have any comments or questions on
yeah, may I?
Yes.
Why don't you stop sharing for me? I've lost my pointer for some reason. That's terrible.
Marina, can you do that, or can I do that?
I'll try to do this. Just a second.
Okay.
Yeah, that's bizarre. My pointer's just gone. Oh, it's the first time it's done that. It's a good job I got a tidy desktop, huh?
Okay.
I think yeah, you go up into my box in the top right hand corner and say, I can't do anything.
There you go. Okay, Mr. Koshiro.
Oh,
Go
yes.
ahead.
Hi. Hi. My name is Koichiro Aikani. I'm Japanese, but I am teaching at the Texas A&M University.
Okay.
Very nice to meet you. Very impressive lecture. Yeah, so usually I take Texas students to Japan as an architecture tour. But the last 2 summers, yeah, we need to cancel. But yeah, when I go, I take student to the Tsutaya in the Daikanyama.
Oh, okay. Well done. Thank you.
Yeah, also the Ginza. And then now today, I first saw your hotel along the Chuo line, Central line. And my memories, I never see the architecture using the color of the train as one of the context. And I was so impressed how really capture the kind of like an atmosphere or character or culture of Japan into the context, like colors. So thank you very much.
I think there's a little bit there about Astrid and I being in Tokyo. We see Tokyo in a different way to Japanese people, or people who arrive just want to see Japan and Tadao Ando and things like that. We see very different things in the city, and those things we see different things to Japanese. When we get into a taxi in Japan, the guy has white gloves and antimacassar legs, so much stuff. Japanese people get into a taxi and see nothing. Yeah. But also you being in Texas see things that Texas people don't see. So
that's true. Yeah, because for the urban aspects, yes, the color of the building, shape of the building, scale of the building will be referred for the design inspirations. But the color of the train was so unusual, but they really captured. I was so fascinated. I love to stay next time I go to Tokyo.
Yeah, please let us know. We can get you good.
Oh, thank you.
It's true.
All right. Thank you so much. Is there anybody else who wants to